You can see from this road in Alaska the destruction this quake caused. Magnitude 7 quake centered 10 miles northeast of Anchorage, Alaska's largest city. And we have plenty of dramatic video showing the moment that it hit. And watch how long the shaking lasted.
We put a timer on the screen for you. The shaking at this courtroom in Anchorage lasted for close to 30 seconds. People were here running for cover as walls rattled, desks sway back and forth, as you can see there. The shaking so bad, panels even started falling from the ceiling. There were chaotic moments in homes across the city.
It has knocked stuff all down, all over my house. Come on, hold hands. Let's stay together. Let me close the door. Come on, Jesus. I tell you, it is unbelievable. Put the light on, Callie. Oh my God. We're still having small tremors.
This mother hid her kids in her closet the moment the earthquake hit and rattled her home. The quake has caused damage all over Anchorage, but no word of any building collapses and no reported injuries. Just a lot of people shaken up.
We are pretty shaken up. Yeah.
How were all the kids doing when you were there? A little scared?
Yeah, they were scared. Yeah. I'm still shaking.
Oh my God, I have to hide under my desk. I was shaking like forever.
There hasn't been too bad of damage. My friend posted something on her story, and you know, a cabinet full of china, like all the china is just like on the ground. That's probably the most severe thing I've seen, besides the roads concaving in and cracking.
Yeah, there is damage to many roads and highways. Take a look at this. This is a scene in Wasilla, just north of Anchorage. A car got trapped in a crumbled section of the roadway there after the strong quake split right through the pavement. Here's some more video giving us a bird's eye view of the mess on an Anchorage highway. It's from a helicopter. In one section, it appears to have taken down some trees on the side of the road with it, forcing the highway to shut down.
All right, guys, we are going to move out because we did get that aftershock. We are being told we need to exit the building.
Our sister station in the area, KTVA, giving us a look at all the damage the quake caused to their newsroom. No one was hurt, but as you can see, it was a close call.
This ceilings here, if we had been on air, this would have been disastrous for every member of the production crew. This could have been very scary. Luckily, this earthquake happened about an hour or so after, hour and a half after our main show. Once again, this is the tape room where I was stationed when we were after the show, and I was working in here. And as you can see, these bookshelves were full of the tapes that are now scattered all over the floor.
Unbelievable. Reporters were able to keep viewers informed through Facebook Live. This evening, seismologists with the U.S. Geological Survey are studying the quake.
That's right. Our Julie Watts is live in Menlo Park right now with what made this earthquake so unique. Julie?
Yeah, guys, you know, this region is no stranger to earthquakes. In fact, the USGS says there's been at least 15 magnitude 6 or greater over the last century, the big one, a 9.2 in 1964. But what is relatively unique along a subduction zone like this is this wasn't exactly a subduction earthquake.
It seemed to go on forever. The shaking in this Anchorage courtroom lasted at least a minute. Oh my God. But USGS geophysicist Brian Kilgore says that's not necessarily due to the size of the 7.0 magnitude earthquake alone.
There are a lot of things that factor into the shaking you experience.
He notes the type of building, the type of ground, and the proximity to the epicenter all play a role in just how severe the shaking is. But with this quake centered just 3 miles from Anchorage, the strong shaking and damage was widespread.
This is one of our cameras in the studio.
From a CBS television station to cafes, broken glass and damage is everywhere. This chilling image of a car stranded on a buckled roadway provides a glimpse of what was going on far beneath the earth.
It was a little bit different kind of earthquake.
Typically, Alaska sees subduction zone earthquakes, where the Pacific plate is diving under the North American plate.
This earthquake occurred within the subducting Pacific plate.
Within the plate itself.
Within the plate itself.
That portion of the plate is far beneath the North American plate and directly underneath Anchorage, which he says ultimately impacted the location of the epicenter. So instead of the earthquake being here for a subduction zone earthquake, it's here in the plate underneath.
Yes.
Now, USGS models predict hundreds of earthquakes are possible over the next 24 hours, hundreds of aftershocks, that is, but only a small percentage of chance, about a 6% chance that any of those aftershocks will be as strong as that initial earthquake, Liz, so they could continue for weeks.
Yeah, Julie, just looking at the video, obviously the damage is substantial, but thank goodness no buildings totally collapsed and really nobody was hurt. Were scientists there surprised that that was the case?
You know, it really depends, they say, on the buildings, and they say they'll be taking a look at this to find out, for instance, with that courtroom video, they'll be looking carefully at the shaking there versus the shaking in other buildings that was captured on camera, so they can look at that for the future and decide, you know, what kind of buildings, what kind of retrofitting needs to be done from here on out. So they weren't necessarily surprised, but certainly it is amazing that there was no, at least that we know so far, serious injuries or deaths.
Yeah, especially when you see all the rubble left behind. All right, Julie, thank you. Well, as Julie mentioned, Anchorage has been hit hard before. It was the site of the strongest recorded earthquake in U.S. history. A magnitude 9.2 quake rattled the city back in 1964. You can see their roads buckled and building after building reduced to rubble. About 130 people died. In fact, if you make a list, Alaska has 4 of the 5 biggest earthquakes in U.S. history.
Yeah, this was the scene inside the Anchorage International Airport when the quake hit. Alarms were going off. You could hear there one woman just sitting down in the middle of the terminal. This evening, the airport is open but operating on a reduced schedule. Flights have been flying in from Alaska to the Bay Area. So far, there have not been any delays.